Right then, welcome back to the channel, and we are in a lock-up garage in the middle of Hemel Hempstead with our friend Justin's Trotter van. As you can see, this is a complete full conversion of a Trotter van with flaking paint and all. And we've got an issue with it won't go into gear when it gets hot, and the choke is not able to be operated from inside, so we've got to sort that out. It's just a cable. I think he mentioned something about the handbrake not working too well either, so I think we may have to take the gearbox out of this first of all, or at least investigate the gearbox to see what's wrong with it, and then we are going to go from there and obviously take you with us through the journey. Now when I say us, it is me, and Dan is here with me today as well. He's just behind the camera over there, and we're going to obviously get some inspiration from this as well, so we can hopefully get our vans on the road with any luck soon enough. So let's crack on, and we're going to get this up on ramps and get maybe a little tarpaulin or something set up out here, because it is pouring the rain and we don't want to get soaking wet. So let's carry on. Right, as you can see, we have got the van up on the ramps, and this rod here is what adjusts the clutch. It's not hydraulic or cable on these old vans, it's actually a solid rod. Now this, Dan has moved the nut slightly to make this distance here more, which has improved the clutch feel when you can drive it now, but it's still very, very sort of on off rather than being a smooth transition on the biting point. So we're actually going to reduce this nut back down a bit and clamp it, because there's another nut inside this channel. I'm going to clamp that together so that it's tight, and we're going to use this nut to then get a bit of adjustment and see if that makes any difference to obviously get any slack out of this rod. That's going to be the first port of call. It is quite tight under here as far as the gearbox. That's the exhaust pipe you can see there, and obviously that's the gearbox up there. Say hello, Dan.
Hello.
So Dan's here. We're both laying underneath this van in the middle of a lock-up garage. We're in Del Boy's garage. So yeah, we're not 100% sure what we're going to do yet as far as if we're going to take the box out or not, or whether it is just purely adjustment on that rod. So we're going to have another little look round and see if there's anything else we can adjust or do first, and then we'll come back to you and let you know what's going to happen. Let's carry on. Rightio, he's just going to we've got an adjustable spanner to go around the channel section to hold it still, and there is a nut that's already inside the channel section which has got like a little slot cut out of it to hold the nut still, if that makes sense. And then we're going to nip that other one up, or he is rather, I should say, Dan is, until it obviously goes completely tight. And then on the other end you can see there's another adjustable nut which we're going to then adjust.
This one?
Yeah, to get the, obviously the clutch hopefully a bit more of a less...
A bit more usable.
It's a bit close to the ground, the pedal's too close to the ground, that's what it feels like. So we're going to try and bring the clutch pedal up a little bit so that it's a bit more sort of halfway like it would normally be, you know. And we're hoping all these little small adjustments will make the difference in between it being possible to drive and
we'll just get rid of all the play.
Yeah, get rid of all the play, yeah, hopefully, yeah. That looks better.
So that rod is now fixed to this.
Yeah.
So we can just do the adjustment on there then, hopefully.
So how much do you reckon that wants any more at the moment?
Then I'm going to wind it off so it's slack, and then
you can probably use the adjustable on that bigger nut, couldn't you?
Well, the bigger nut seems to be loose.
Oh, it's just a sleeve effectively, is it?
That's what it seems like, yeah.
Oh, right, okay, gotcha. So you're going to back the nut off then, and we'll feel what the pedal feels like, and then obviously keep going from there.
Yeah, so that's loose now.
Okay. Do you want me to go inside and see what it feels like?
Yeah, and then I can put more on then if we need to, can't we?
Okay, we're going to have a little adjust with this, and obviously push the pedal up and down, and we'll come back to you in a sec. Rightio, we have just did a little test run around the yard here, and the clutch appears to be okay now. It's got a reasonable biting point for one of these, and it's not too sort of jerky as such. So the next thing we've got to sort out is this choke cable here. As you can see, it's a bit well, floppy would be a good word. And you can't adjust it from the inside, so we're going to have a look at that and see why it won't actually pull the cable from the inside and go from there. And also we may have to adjust, well, we're not sure about the tick over at the moment, because it seems to, now it's warmed up, it seems to be okay, but we may have to adjust the tick over slightly as well, and we have got to possibly look at the handbrake. So let's get on with this choke cable and we'll see what we find in a minute. As you can see under there, access is very limited and we haven't got any electric where we are, so we're using phone torches. We're taking the airbox off to start with because it's very difficult to see what's going on with that cable, obviously as it is at the moment, so it's a bit tricky to film. So we're going to get the airbox off. I just thought I'd cut in and just tell you what we're doing so you know, and once we've got that off we'll have a look, see what's going on. Let's carry on. Okay, having got the airbox off, we can see the problem straight away. If you could point for me, Dan. See there, that is the casing that's not sitting in the bottom of the housing properly, and it's moving about, flopping about. So when you pull the cable, it's moving the whole thing and not actually moving the inside of the cable. So what we need to do is we need to get the undo the nut on the bottom of this there, that's it, and pull the cable through some more, and then probably cut the end off so it's not got a big tail hanging out of it. So then that'll hold the casing in the stop where it should be in there, and then that'll allow it to be used from the inside hopefully. So we're going to try that out and see what we get. Let's carry on. As you can see, we have now taken the cable completely out because although we got it working properly, it was very, very hard to pull, and we found out the reason hopefully why, and that is on the linkage on the carb. You can see there's another hole. Let me point to that down, there you go. See that other hole next to the little bolt that the cable goes through? That is actually on the wrong hole, and when you pull it up it's misaligning to the hole that's above, and obviously putting a lot of drag on the cable. So we're going to move that little bolt that Dan's got his finger on over to the hole next to it, and that should alleviate a lot of the friction that we've got at the moment when you pull the cable, and allow the choke to be operated inside easily. So we're going to try that and we'll come back to you in a minute. Right, we abandoned that idea of moving it from one hole. Well, we did move it from one hole to the other, but it didn't make any difference. So now we've actually rerouted the cable. Go on, Dan. That moves lovely now, yeah, look at that. Superb. So that's a working choke cable. Next job, well, that's the next job off the list. Now we've got to see what the handbrake's doing. Let's carry on. Okay, having done the choke cable, we've just noticed, give that switch a wiggle, Dan. You can see there that the side light and headlight switch is a bit loose. So Dan's going to hold the other side of it, and we are just going to hopefully tighten up this little collar that's around it. Might have to give it a little tap with a hammer actually, with a little screwdriver. We're going to tighten it up, so that's another little job ticked off the list. I'll come back to you in a sec. Rightio, that switch is now all nice and tight. We've gone over the other ones as well, make sure they're tight, and also we've flipped this one up the right way because this one was facing downwards. So that's good. So now we can crack on with probably the brakes next. Oh, we've got to do a little bit of adjustment on the mirrors as well, because the mirrors are a little bit loose in the wings. So we're going to try and tighten those up a little bit as well. So that'll be the next thing while it's under the cover at the front, because as you can see it's pouring the rain. And then we're going to back it into the garage and hopefully do the brakes. Let's carry on. Right, there we go. Look, these are the mirrors. As you can see, it's got loads of slop in it. Now there's a big nut which holds the mount on at the bottom, and then there's a Phillips screw which runs up the middle of it to do the adjuster on that bit. So that one needs tightening, and this one's a little bit loose as well, as you can see there in the bodywork. So we're going to give them both a little bit of a tweak, try and tighten them up. Definitely a two-handed job this one, because you need someone on the top side to hold it and Dan laying underneath to do it the nut. So we'll do this and we'll carry on. Right, mirrors are all nice and tight. Dan laid on the floor, did all the dirty work. I just held the top, so that's lovely and tight now. And this one was pretty good anyway, this side, to be fair, so that we just tweaked it slightly, so that's all right. So we're going to flip it around now, get the back end in the garage so we don't get soaked, and have a look at these. Have a look. It's only really the handbrake that's the issue. It's the foot brake's fine, but obviously we will adjust whatever we need to adjust, and if it improves the foot brake as well, then great. So we'll crack on with that, get it turned around, and come back to you in a minute. Okay, as you can see, we've got both the rods off the back of the van for the handbrake. That's the long one on the passenger side. That is a slightly shorter one that Dan's working on there on the driver's side. Now, both of these were totally seized up. We've got a blowtorch, bit of heat on them, and freed them all up with some WD-40. They're nice and free now, so now we can adjust the handbrake a bit better on the wheel end. That's the wheel end that you can see there. As you can see, Dan's just taken that one off the end of that, and he's just freeing it all up with the nut, lock nut and everything else. Make sure that it all goes all right, and then we can put it back on and go the other way, Dan, and get some heat on it.
Yeah, I have to heat it up a bit more.
Yeah.
Probably locked on there.
Yeah, I'll film you do it, go on. This is what basically the same thing we did every time. Get a nice bit of heat on the nut there. Amazing how much it frees it up, just getting a little bit of heat on it. And then when you get it really nice and hot, spray it with WD so that the WD can get in the gap where the metal's expanded, if that makes sense. That's it. And if you wind that right off now, Dan, so the wrong way effectively, then you'll be able to get to the threads underneath it and get the WD on it. That makes sense.
Yeah, just clamp it, that's what I'm doing here.
Yeah, it's a bit dark in here, we haven't got any power, folks, so we're working in phone light and whatever light there is outside, which isn't a lot, because as you can see, there's a little C1 sitting out there, and it's absolutely pouring down the rain still. There you go. You shouldn't have to take it right away off, just so you can get the WD on the thread now. So what I'd do now, I'd heat the thread up again, so that it cleans all the gunk out of it. So give it a blowtorch again, and then spray it with WD, and it'll clean. And then when you wind the nut back on again, it will clean the thread a lot easier, because it won't be all gunked up. So you're basically burning off all the rubbish off the thread, and then when you spray it with the WD after you've done that, it cleans all the thread out, so then you can wind the nut on easier. Saves you snapping things, especially on these old cars like this. This is all imperial size stuff, so we can't just go out and get another piece of rod, because it's specific to this, you know. And obviously the nut being the same as well, that's also specific to this, because it's obviously all imperial size, so it should, in theory, go on there fairly easy now. It'll be hot though.
A bit.
Yeah.
Seems to be turning a bit easier though, doesn't it?
Yeah. It does make a big difference.
I couldn't even turn it with a spanner before, and now I can do it with my finger.
Yeah.
It does seem to stop at about there, but that might give us enough.
Just go backwards and forwards a little bit at a time. So like go like a full turn and come back half a turn, or it's going now, don't it?
It's actually going, yeah.
Give it a little spray that way you're doing it. This helps clean it out.
Yeah,
Cleans it out as it goes. See, little tips and tricks for you peeps. I'd like to give you something that we can pass on, bit of experience and whatever from doing old rubbish like this. There you go. Look at that, lovely and free now. So now we can put the rods back on and adjust them up on the car or on the van and get the handbrake working nice, hopefully. So we're going to do that, and I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, as you can see under here, I'm trying to hold one phone with a torch on and my one filming. The rods are back on, they go to the backs of the wheels right in there. You can see the little split pin going through just about. We've adjusted them. Go on then, Dan, you can, if you pull it, you'll be able to see the handbrake move there in the linkage in the middle. And obviously if I go to the wheel end, you'll be able to see the wheel end as well. You've got a little lever on the back there. Go on, Dan, in and out. That's it, yeah, lovely. And that is actually working really nice now. It's going up about 4 or 5 clicks on the handbrake, which is perfect. Yeah, you heard it click then. And it all works. We tried pushing it off these ramps that it's on at the moment, and you can't push it off the ramps. So that's great. I reckon that's job done for the handbrake. Lovely jubbly. Right, we're inside the van, and we've just popped the gear lever out, which is literally held in by one clip in the top of the that clip there, look, in the top of the gearbox. You have to peel the carpet back and pop that out, and that's what holds it in. And the reason we've done this is because we was having trouble getting it out of reverse and back into first again. So what we've actually done, we've just tried to elongate this spring very slightly on here, which is the spring that you push against when you pull it up to put it in reverse. And also on the top of this casing, where's that little burr that was? There's a little burr, see there, that's a funny shape there. It's not quite circular. There was a burr there on the edge of that, which it may have been catching on, so we've filed that flat as well. So we're just going to put this back in the hole now, which is basically, go on Dan, I'll film you doing it. It's basically just sort of, you have to slot it into the gates in the gearbox, like that.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. And then you've got that funny little cap that goes down over the top of it, and that funny little clip goes in the 2 holes in the side and holds it in. And that's all that basically holds it in. It's so simple. really nice to work on these vans actually, apart from them being quite cramped as far as space. You can't get in places very well because everything's so small or tightly packed. There you go, that's in there now. Oh, let's have a, what does that go like in there? Third, fourth, reverse was a thing, wasn't it?
Up. It's into reverse.
It's into reverse. Straight back out again. Well, that appears to be improved, doesn't it?
Yeah, seems right.
I reckon. Do that again. Look under there. Look. When you went into reverse, you get a little gap there. I bet that was catching on that. Where we filed. You see where we filed it? There was a burr on the edge of that outer bit, and I reckon that was catching on that. So now we filed that flat. It's not catching now. It comes out easy. So hopefully we've cured that problem. Only time will tell. But fingers crossed. That's another job off the list. Lovely jubbly. Let's carry on. We've just done another little adjustment on here, same thing as these switches over here. Basically the indicator stalk there, which is like a sideways stalk, it's a really weird thing, as you can see there. That was loose as well, so we tightened the little collar up on that. The way you do it is basically got these two little slots in the collar on the outside, which obviously thread onto the switch in the centre, and you just basically tighten them up and knock them around with a little sort of flat-headed screwdriver or something until it's tight. So that's another easy little job done. I think we're going to try and look at this driver's door window regulator next, because that's a bit, yeah, I'll do a demo then. There you go.
It jumps, doesn't it?
It jumps down like that, so just like Del Boy's one actually, to be fair. And then coming up is you have to sort of guide it back up on its own, so we're going to have a little look inside the door and see whether there's anything we can do with that window regulator. Once we've got the door card off, which I think is just self-tapped on, we'll come back to you. Rightio, this is turning into me filming and Dan doing everything day. So Dan should take quite a bit of credit for this. I've been doing bits and bobs as well, but we're taking this door card off, which is basically just held on. You've got two flathead screws which hold on the door handle and the window winder. And as you can see, this has been done in the old leopard skin print. It looks like it's just going to fall off basically, because there's not a lot holding it on. Maybe there's a screw down there. Is there a screw down there?
Yeah, there's one screw down the bottom.
One screw in the corner, that's all that's holding it. Is it a Phillips or is it?
One, yeah.
Hang on, I'll get you a Phillips. Mate.
Cheers.
So we've got one Phillips screw down that corner, and that's literally what's holding this door card on. Which is kind of handy, I suppose, because it means it comes off easy. There we go. So now we can see inside the guts of the door and have a little look at this window winder. Do you want to? What I suppose I'm going to do? Wind it up and see what it does. Well, I'll keep filming, and you can see what it does then. You can't see a lot, can you?
It goes up. Not too bad.
It goes up too bad, yeah.
It's jumping when it comes down.
Is it jumping? Do you reckon it's the cog behind that mechanism that's? I wonder if it's got teeth missing in this bit, and it's not meshing in. So you got the.
Then it would do the same going up there, wouldn't it?
I suppose it'd do it more, wouldn't it? Yeah, because it's. It's an interesting one. Going up's not too bad, is it? Why are you saying that? It's a bit wibbly wobbly, isn't it? It gets stuck there, doesn't it?
It's the glass sticking in the runners or something.
Is it stuck there at the moment? You've got to pull it, have you, to get it out?
Not too bad.
It jumps down, didn't it? Jump down there. It's almost like the window's sticking, isn't it? Yeah, as you say, it's sticking. The glass is either sticking in the thing and then dropping, yeah. So it's not the mechanism itself by the looks of it then. Bless you. Just had two sneezes on the bounce there. Okay, we're going to do a bit of investigation into this, and we'll come back to you when we've found out some more. Right, having wound it up and down several hundred times, we still can't see anything, so we're just going to buzz this window regulator out and see what's going on, because it looks like the half moon cog on this bit is skipping on the inner cog inside here. We don't know why yet, so there's no teeth damage as far as we can see on there, so we're just going to take this apart and see whether something's come loose on the actual mechanism itself. We'll come back to you when we've got it out. It's basically held in with 4 or 5 bolts that go straight through the front of the door there, so we'll get that off and we'll come back to you. Right, we've got the window cartridge mechanism out, if you like, and we're trying to see what's skipping now. We've when Dan winds it, you'll hear it click then. As it goes down, it's clicking. And obviously this is all riveted together in here, so we can't actually get to any of it. That's the problem we've got. So we don't know whether we can actually do anything with this or not at the moment, or whether it's just seen better days and that's how it is, sort of thing, you know.
There, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's jumping a cog, yeah. So we're going to have a little muck about with this. If it doesn't work or we can't get inside it or make it any better, unfortunately we just have to put it back and leave it for now. But at least we know that in that case that it needs a new window regulator, and we can maybe sort one out for Justin and get it put in. So we'll have a little look at this, and then if we get any more progression, I'll come back to you. Right, we've just basically filled this up with WD-40, and you can see all the gunk and rubbish coming out of it there. We think that possibly could be the cause of it, and it's just got too much grease and crud in there, and it's letting the cogs skip. So we're going to fill it through with some WD and wind it up and down and see if we can get it working any better. That's about all we can do with it really, and then we'll get it put back in. Let's carry on. Well, yeah, we think we found out what the problem is. There's two problems. If you look here, when I rotate this, you can see the pin moving in there, so it's obviously got a lot of slop in it. Also, if you look in this gap here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but the inside of the winder mechanism has got that much play in it without the handle moving. So that is going to be our issue, which we can't really do much about because obviously it's all riveted together. So it is just a case of it being 50 years old and worn out basically. So we've done loads of lubrication around this with WD-40, cleaned all the gunk out of it, as you can see. We're just going to have to put it back for now, and we'll speak to Justin and see if he wants to get a new one, and we can fit him a new one quite easily. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get it all fitted back in, and I think that might even be the last job. Well, we've got to go for a road test obviously, so we'll do a bit of filming in the road test. We'll see you in a minute. Right, having thought we didn't actually make any difference whatsoever to this window, having put it back in and now winding it up and down, you'll see, although it clicks,
A little bit of a jump.
the jumpiness of it is a hell of a lot better than it was before. Going up's no problem at all. Going down it just clicks a couple of times, but it doesn't jump anywhere near as much, and it's a lot smoother going up and down. So that is a bit of a win really, considering we thought that wasn't going to make any difference at all. It has done something at least, so that's good. Makes things a little bit easier, a bit more comfortable to drive, at least when you can open the window and go for a drive-through or whatever, which we may do in a minute possibly, because we're both getting really hungry. Right, I think we're at the end of the jobs list on this little van. I might might as well just give you a little tour around it, mightn't I, while we're here. So inside, obviously we've got to put that door card back on. We've got furry dash, furry seats, furry door cards. Got the old Dyson hanging in the window there. In the back, we've got a giant suitcase, and I believe there are a couple of blow-up dolls over there somewhere as well. They're still in the packets, unused. A little mini Del Boy. Inside's quite nice. It's all got white headlining, or white roof I should say. It's been painted nicely in there. We've got the old roof rack on the roof. Going around, obviously you've got the decals on the side. It is a little bit dark in here. I'm sorry, it's a bit dark, but I don't want to go outside at the moment because it is absolutely lashing down still. It hasn't stopped all day. But it's a nice little van, this. Nice little van. It runs nice. It's got the 850 engine in it. Can I just squeeze past it then? Sorry mate. Right, I'll just show you in the old engine bay here. We've got the little 850 lump in there, which you saw earlier on. So that is out of a later Robin, so that does give it a bit more go. And it's also got the 4-gear synchromesh gearbox in it, which obviously is better because it means you can go into all gears without having to stop. So that's quite good. So yeah, is what it is really. Great little things, I love them. Just make me smile. Which is what it's all about at the end of the day, isn't it? I'm going to go back in the garage now because it's absolutely pouring down the rain, as I've said many times, and I don't want to get soaking wet. Right, maiden voyage test drive in the three-wheel van. Dan's filming it for me, and we are going to McDonald's to get some lunch because we're starving, and we obviously need to test this gearbox out and the clutch out to make sure that it's all working alright. So far so good, apart from steaming up, which as you can see is not a bit of an issue, and the heater doesn't appear to be working. Wipers are alright though, and brakes are okay-ish for a three-wheel van. So yeah, at the moment we're all good. So we're going to go down to the McDonald's, give them all a laugh down there, and hopefully it'll be a successful test drive. Lovely jubbly. Right, status update. Unfortunately, we have broken down, but that is only because we put the headlights on and something in the wiring shorted out, and this wire here melted against the voltage regulator, which is down there in the dark. Hang on, Dan's getting his phone. The voltage regulator there, and it shorted it out. So this voltage regulator has gone poof. So we've managed, or Dan's managed to get, lucky enough, we had a Haynes manual in the van, and Dan worked out which wires we needed to link together, and we put them on the same terminal on the back here, and now it starts and runs again. So hopefully it's going to be enough to get us home and not break down again. But we're not going to put the lights on this time, because that's what made this wire that I just showed you here go live, and as you can see, it's melted it. So that's how easy it can be to have a fire in your Reliant. Where are we going to tie it? We'll tie it around here.
Yeah.
We're going to tie this up so that it won't touch anything. We're only about a mile from home, and we will get home and I'll come back to you. Right, this is Dan driving the Regal. After our little breakdown, we got it going again, thank God. And we're just praying it gets the mile back home that we need to get back home to.
Yeah, we've got no charging on the battery at the moment.
Yep, no charging, if you didn't hear that. Yeah, you probably did hear that.
No headlights.
No, oh, we've got wipers, but it's all running off the battery. And we didn't put the lights back on because obviously that's what blew it before, with that wire that had been left by somebody previously, not by us, I might like to add. So whoever did that before, thanks very much, because that could have caught the whole van on fire. So yeah,
we're pretty lucky there.
We're very lucky there, yeah, to be honest with you. So at least it only melted that little wire and didn't melt anything else, but it does look like it's knocked the voltage regulator out. So yeah, whoever did it before, it wasn't ideal. So we're going to get back to base, and we'll come back to you when we get there.
Come back in a minute.
In a minute, yep. Right, we're back home at the garage, and we're just looking at the wiring. This is the wire that's shorted out. It's been joined in to this, which goes on the back of the headlight switch. So when we switched the headlights on, that's the reason it all went kaboom, because that wire was just dangling, and obviously it meant it was a live wire that could then touch on anything, which is why it blew the, I think it's blown the voltage regulator. So why someone's joined this on here, we don't know, but we're going to unjoin it because obviously it's not plugged into anything and it's only going to cause grief. Lucky it didn't catch the van on fire, to be honest with you. So we're going to remove that completely, and then we're going to try and work out what needs to be replaced. We think it needs a voltage regulator, because when we took the cover off of that initially, that black box there, a big plume of smoke came out with it. So and it absolutely stunk of electrical burning. So that's where we're at the moment. We'll carry on from there and come back to you in a minute. Right, as you can see by how dark it is out there now, you can't even see the cars, just about. We have been rushing against the light to try and get this sorted out. Now in the end, we've done the crimp under there on the headlight switch that I showed you the bad wiring, and we've re-crimped that back on there. I don't know if you can see it under there now. We had to put a little joint in the wiring because it wasn't quite long enough. Done that. And also, one major thing we've done is the battery had been put in around the wrong way. Someone obviously thought this was a positive earth vehicle, and it's not. It's a negative earth vehicle. We've checked the Haynes manual and online, and it both said negative earth. So we've swapped everything about to make this now a negative earth vehicle, which is how it should be. So the battery is now connected around the right way. I'm sorry the light is bad in here, but we are literally working off of Dan's torch. Look, that's all we got. So we've swapped everything about that we need to swap out about to make it a negative earth. Everything is now working again. We've sorted out a couple of earths. In fact, we had to change the earth. Can you shine that down there, Dan? See this big earth wire here? We had to change that because that was connected to the battery. And obviously now we've swapped the battery around the other way, it wouldn't reach. So that is now connected to the chassis on the side there, on the side next to the radiator. So that's that done. And then we found that we didn't have it indicators on the back on one side. So we've also just cleaned up the earths on the back and made them all work. So now all the lights are working on the back again now, and on the front. Now the dynamo does appear to still be charging, even though we've effectively bypassed that regulator. So it does still charge at the moment. You can drive it, but obviously not for too long a period of time. So we're going to have to get a new voltage regulator, either that or we'll convert it to an alternator, one of the two. That will be in the future though, because as I said, it's pitch black. We've got no lights. Look, that's how dark it is. You can't even see the the Citroen or anything. You can just about see the sky up there. Look, there you go. That's how dark it is. So we're going to have to stop there, and we've done tons of jobs as you've seen, so we've done all right, and it is still running and working, so that's great. There we go. Right then, as you can see, it's pitch black. We need to finish this video. I'm going to say thanks very much for watching. I'm sorry it's a bit of a quick ending, but obviously, as you say, it's still raining and it's dark. So I hope you've enjoyed this video on yet another Regal. This is the third Regal, different one we've had on the channel now, and we are going to have to come back and sort out the remaining issues with that voltage regulator or alternator, whichever way we go with that, and some wiring as well, because it ain't that pretty. So anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you all soon. Cheers.